Welcome back to all our friends, family, and yes, even our foes. To the Foxx Den Sports Podcast, where Todd and his sports-passionate kids are ready to bring you the latest updates and insights on all things sports. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here are your hosts, Kellen, Garrett, Gannon, and coming to you from the Foxx Den, their dad, Todd Foxx.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Foxx Den Sports Podcast, our 146th episode, if I'm not mistaken. Along with Kellen and Garrett, I'm Todd Foxx, and we got a lot to cover today. A lot of good comments coming in, it sounds like, but let's go for them. What do we got? OU. It was a crazy game. We'll talk about that here in a second. Against Missouri, we were ahead, then we were behind, and we tied, and then we were ahead again. I mean, anyway, whatever. It's kind of a train wreck, watching a train actually wreck. But let's hear it. Let's hear some of the comments that we've had coming in, because we've been busting some chops on Missouri all year long, and for years, even before we had a podcast, because basically
we never talked about them because they were irrelevant before.
Well, I mean, we made fun of them, basically. We still make fun of them because they're garbage. Them and their no teeth. So what do you got?
Well, first thing with the comments, it's going to be hard to go through them without getting into the game. And then also one thing to point out, these fans were very loud during the offseason when they had a lot of hype around them. True. And then once the season started, they got, by quiet, we didn't hear a single thing until 2 days ago. And they got really quiet because they know they suck. They know they haven't played anybody good. They finally played somebody good. Bama, they got absolutely waxed.
Destroyed.
Got scoreless game. So yeah, just to point that out really quick before we really dive into it. But yeah, let's say this: Oklahoma sucks. That was one comment.
Yeah, they spelled Oklahoma. O-K-L-O. Oklahoma.
That Missouri education.
Yeah.
And then this is one from last week really quick. This is from a fan who did go to the game against Maine, said they didn't really have the same energy from the games in the past, but glad we got the win. I would agree. I don't think the energy's been quite the same this year.
Yeah, was that person the one from Florida?
Yeah.
Florida? Yeah. Parents live in Meeker?
Yep.
Yeah, appreciate the comments.
And then couldn't even stop the backup of the joke of a quarterback. We are the real joke.
So they're basically saying OU is the real joke because we
or
couldn't
us.
stop.
I'm not really sure, but
we're not. I mean, whatever. I don't really care what they think. Yeah, Drew Pine, I think was his name. I mean, yeah, I agree. From the standpoint that we played pretty good for 3 quarters on defense, and then I don't know what happened in the fourth quarter, and that guy all of a sudden became, Tom Brady back there. Not really, but he made some decent throws, and we couldn't get to him. And yeah, it happens. But he's still garbage. What's next? We'll keep talking about that here shortly. But yeah, he's still garbage.
Better luck next year. We're 5-5. We're 5-5, and not going to make a bowl game.
Thanks. Hopefully
we don't celebrate bowl games at the University of Oklahoma.
I don't want to. Like I told you guys the other day, I didn't want a bowl game. I mean,
it's not the national championship. We don't really care.
It's the extra practice is what I was more inclined to look at. And I know, talking to Clay, he and I were talking about it the other day. And he goes, "Why?" He goes, honestly, I don't even care about the practice. He said, because half these players aren't going to be on the team next year, so why even mess with it? I'm like,
well, and most of those players aren't going to play because they know they're not going to be on the team.
Right.
So it's a complete waste of a game. But Missouri doesn't have a lot of experience there, so they'll find that out later.
No, they don't have any experience.
How does Oklahoma screw up the ball security 6 times?
Was it 6?
That's what we were talking about just before starting, and I think Kellen has the...
Peyton Bowen had the fumble on the punt. And then Jackson Arnold fumbled twice, and then was it Burks that caught the ball and then fumbled? And was that when he got hit really hard, or was that a different time?
No, that was a different time.
Okay. He's probably done for the year. But
and then I would assume his only other 2 would be turnover on downs because,
No,
like
I mean,
Kellen said,
Jackson Arnold fumbled one and then fell on it.
right.
Remember when he was rolling out and then lost it and fell on it? So there were 6 fumbles, 4 turnovers.
Okay, I guess he didn't really. Yeah, he didn't specify.
Specify
turnovers,
better,
but-
please.
I mean, he
specify
also
better.
said aged wheel. So
We were
had
3.
no clue what he was talking
Yeah,
about.
because we were 3 out of 4 on 4th down. So, yeah, I don't know what they were talking about.
But yeah, a lot of comments. Again, like I said, 95% of them coming from after the game or
After
before the
game,
season.
of course.
So
And we appreciate all you that commented within 30 minutes of the game, letting us know that you're really thinking about us all game. It means a lot. We appreciate the clicks. We appreciate the boost in our algorithm. It's fantastic.
Well,
free
yeah, I
content, easy
Yeah,
content.
the one, they said they were going to keep that and come back to it. Here's the thing. I mean, Missouri stinks, and I know we stink too, but we had that game and we should have, but we didn't. We didn't do what we needed to do. I had no doubt in my mind that we were going to win that game, and we gave it away. And then Jackson Arnold we can talk about it, but he's very careless with that football, unfortunately. Very careless. So let's go through it. Garrett, why don't you go first, and Kellen, just kind of your thoughts on, I don't know, however you want to say it. I don't know if you want to go through the flow of it and your thoughts and all that, or if you just want to go right at it, whatever you want to say.
I think the fundamentals is what lost us this game, from clock management, holding onto the ball and ball security, like you just mentioned, and being able to stay on your freaking feet and during the middle of a play. In what world is Jacoby Johnson on the field on a 3rd and 19 where we stop them one more play after that and the game's over and we win? Like, in what world do we have him out there? He is not a good coverage player. He looked like an idiot getting twisted around in the backfield or in the deep end. But he's just, don't have him out there. That's whenever you don't worry about snaps and who's tired. Like, you put your best athletes and your best defensive players out there and don't let them catch the ball. And that dude just... that ball was in the air for a good 3 seconds, and every single person was just watching it or, again, on their freaking face. So, and then the ball security. Like, I don't care. Like, don't even worry about Bam at this point. Sit there and have every single player walk around campus with 2 balls, one in each hand, and just, it's just pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic. And then the clock management. I don't know how you're the quarterback and you just sit there and run around like an idiot. Like, you could have just slid down, timeout, and at least get a Hail Mary. Because when have we ever seen a freaking lateral passing actually work? Pathetic. That's on Luttrell, or not Luttrell, Joe John for not telling him. And then also just, I genuinely don't understand how you can make it that far playing football that long and not understand that. And also catching the ball. I don't understand how you can play that long and you can't catch the ball throughout the game. It makes no sense whatsoever.
You guys remember on that fake punt? And we got the ball, I think, on the 13, and then we couldn't even get a playoff because we were celebrating, I guess, too much. And then it was like first and 10 on the 13.
I think it was 1st and goal, I think.
Was that what it was? I mean, all I know is it pushed us back. I mean, this is a bad enough offense.
And then we get sacked, if I'm not mistaken, and then it's like...
you can't have little mistakes like that. I mean, penalty-wise, I think if I'm not mistaken, we only 3 out of 3 penalties for 25 yards. So not too bad there, but it's just some of these other just dumb mistakes. That was a dumb mistake. And to your point, that Jackson Arnold, like, let me take off and run, and then game over. I mean, come on, man, got to be better.
And also, I don't think we would have won the game. But in what world is that not a personal foul on Deion Burks whenever he gets smoked in the face?
Yeah.
In what world? Like, they're like, oh, it's not a targeting because he had the ball and he wasn't defenseless. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, it's maybe not be targeting, but it was a head to helmet. Like, do they not call helmet to helmet anymore? Is that not a thing anymore? Because he lowered the crown of his helmet and, right to his face mask.
Could have very easily been called. Yes, I agree.
So, just pathetic laziness on the ref side.
But. And then, I think we had him, and was it Woody Washington that held on to that receiver? And if he wouldn't have held on to him, it's still. I mean, he was holding on him a little bit, but I mean, still. But it's like, I mean, he made a terrible throw. I mean,
he threw it out of bounds. He threw it
Yeah.
away, and it was
Right.
after he was holding him while the ball was in the air. Like,
it's frustrating, but can't make those kind of mistakes in these kind of games like that. So, Kellen, what were your initial thoughts? I mean, because I know we were all probably pretty ticked off on Saturday night.
I mean, it's not a whole lot different than what Gary's saying. I just think at the end of that, Jackson Arnold is trying so hard to be a hero now, trying to change the narrative and really seal his name as an Oklahoma quarterback. So he's just trying too hard. And worst case, just take the overtime. Like, do whatever you got to do. Like, I don't know. He's got to find a way. I've never seen a quarterback fumble more. And, like, we were so excited to have a quarterback like him that he's the kind of quarterback you don't expect to fumble because he's the mobile quarterback that's a little thicker than like a Lamar or somebody like that. Like, he's like a Josh Allen type where you're thinking, like, all right, this man could be a running back in another life. So he's just got to work on that ball protection, decision making. But I think that'll come maybe if we actually get a real offensive coordinator, if Jackson Arnold's even around at that point. I don't know what to expect there. Overall, we played a much better game. I don't know. Missouri didn't win the game. We lost the game.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, you got 4 turnovers. Like,
and they can say whatever they want. They're all going to be all excited. All this, like, think about those first 3 games we were playing, and I can't remember which one it was at the end of the game. Venables said we did not deserve to win that. Like,
Houston.
We won the game, and none of us were celebrating because it was a bad game. But Missouri fans out here like, oh, they just won the national championship.
Well, I mean, they can't stand Oklahoma because Oklahoma's putting a beating on them for years and years and years. And they enjoyed the little period of time where we didn't play them. And that's fine. Enjoy your win this year, but don't get used to it. It's not going to happen a lot. You guys are still below. I mean, you're a mediocre team. I mean, you did okay last year, but I mean, you haven't done jack this year. You've got 7 wins, 6 or 7 wins now. I think 7 wins now. Haven't played anybody really well, right? But I mean, I wish we had some wins. I'm not gonna lie, but we're not very good either. But I just know that they're garbage. They're still garbage. Their coach is garbage. You see, he took a little shot at Stoops, Bob Stoops. Did you see that?
What does he have any business taking a shot at Stoops for?
Something to the fact that Stoops said, somebody asked a question to Stoops recently about, Mizzou and how do you think they're excited OU's coming back or something to the effect. And he was like, well, I mean, we beat their blanks, all the time. So, I mean, it's like, whatever. And he said, yeah, somebody's going to have, he said after the game, like, tell Bob Stoops, that this, they're not beating our blanks all the time anymore.
I promise you, we'll probably win 9 of the next 10 in this matchup. So
yeah,
they should guard it a little bit.
It is what it is, and they did pull it out. They got they made the play. I was very disappointed in our defense at the end. When I say that, meaning they let them come right down the field. I think it was 2 minutes left in the game, and after Bowman, that ball popped out, and I saw Bowman, I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. And it's pretty cool, but hey, they made some plays when they needed to. Our defense, we just can't put the pressure on the quarterback, and he became some kind of a, he threw that one up for grabs. Is that one you were talking about? He threw that one, just over towards the sidelines. And Theo Weiss had a, pretty good game, scored a couple touchdowns against us. But and then that last touchdown they scored, I mean, it's like, dadgum, he barely got his foot in, but I mean, he got it in. But anyway, yeah, they're still garbage.
Well, real quick, and then back to Kellen, like, they've played 2 good teams this year, and that is legitimately it. Every single other team,
Alabama, who
has
else?
Texas A&M. Combined score of those 2 games, 75-10. They lost. They are a pathetic football team, and I'm not saying anything because again, we lost. We know we're pathetic. We're not saying that, but they are they are going to get on their high horse, and like we've been saying, they have no business being 7 wins. It's just they got handed, the easiest schedule in the SEC besides Texas, really, and that's just what it is. I'd be shocked if all things play out, they could still have, 10 wins and not make the playoffs because they do not pass the eye test at all.
No,
But-
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Anyways,
And-
back to Kellen.
yeah. Go ahead, Kellen.
Okay. Well,
He's like, what?
you reached it back to me. I didn't know there was ever at me. But I mean, okay. What has Missouri ever accomplished?
Nothing.
Nothing. They've appeared in 36 bowl games ever. We've won 31 bowl games.
When I think of Missouri, I mean, I think of the old Big 8 basketball teams more than anything because, I mean, they were pretty good back then. I don't know. I don't ever think about them in football. I don't know if they've had some good years, but that's the thing is good years. We've had good decades.
They've finished in the top
centuries.
10 8 times since 1936.
Golly, we've done that.
They're
decade.
nothing. For the University of Oklahoma, second place is as good as last. And we know this. We were in the playoffs quite a few times. For the University of Missouri, 24th place is as good as first. They are so excited right now. They're on top of the world, coming out of the woodworks. We lived in Missouri for years. Never met a Missouri fan. Now all of a sudden they're popping out. Act like you've won something before. I know you haven't, but maybe act like it. But again, we appreciate everybody thinking of us and hitting us in the comments first.
And I'm sure that I know there's a few Missouri. I shouldn't say a few. There's some Missouri fans I know that are good people. There are, but
I'm not saying they're bad people.
Oh, they're not bad people. But
the first thing I think of when I think of Mizzou is Michael Sam. That's all I ever think of when I think of Mizzou.
I can't think of a single player.
All right. Well, I can think of several, but I'm just saying they're not. There's some good fans out there, and there's some bad ones, and that's okay. That's bust our chops because you know what? We've been talking a lot of smack all year, and we should have won the game, but we didn't win the game, and it is what it is, and it happens. Go ahead, Kellen.
Well, on that point, we've been talking a lot of smack all year, and guess what we've been doing? We've been losing, and we're still talking smack.
We're still
the second
talking.
y'all lost a game, disappeared.
Didn't hear from them.
Nobody heard from you at all until after the game. So keep that same energy all year. Keep that same energy for the next 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years when we are whooping you every single year like we did Oklahoma State.
Yeah, enjoy us while we're down. Go ahead, Garrett. What were you saying?
Well, I was just going to say, it wasn't even whenever they lost the first game. It was just after the first few weeks whenever they barely won against a bunch of nobodies. Yeah. So
we were doing the exact same thing, but we kept the energy because we're actually true fans.
Yes, true fans are a little upset right now with the team, some of the coaching staff. But
everybody's saying it didn't age well that we called them a fluke. They thought they were a college football playoff team at the beginning of the year. They're not.
Yeah.
So
I knew. I mean,
maybe we didn't prove that they were a fluke, but the rest of college football did.
They're a fluke. They're not. I mean, whatever. They're just not. They're not relevant. Let them have their day in the sand and the sun or whatever you want to call it. I mean, who cares? But I know. So let me ask you guys this: what do you do going forward? I mean, because hearing people here talk and radio talk and all that kind of stuff. Now they're all mad at Jackson Arnold, which, I mean, yeah, he made some mistakes and he's very careless with the ball. My opinion is there's some reasons why. He has no offensive line. The guy can't go back there and throw the ball. And he has happy feet. He's kind of trying to move it around. Reminds me a little bit of in the happy feet of a guy named Nate Hibble, who was quarterback early 2000s, when Jason White got hurt. He did a good job. I think we were 10-2, won Big 12 championships with him. But so he reminds me of a little bit. My concern is like Jackson Arnold. One of the guys on the radio is saying that, he will not be back. He wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't pay him any NIL, put in Hawkins. I'm like, Hawkins can't throw the ball. He can't throw the ball. Now, would it have been nice to see him out there a little bit because he can run the ball, but if they had a little bit of a few packages for him, I don't know the answer to that. But the thing is like we were never out of that game, so you don't put in Hawkins because it wasn't like we were really out of the game. I mean, to play as poorly as we did and only lose by 7 points we played poorly. Jackson Arnold had a 26 QBR rating. Our punter had 100%. Like he was 1 for 1 for 47 yards. So maybe he should play quarterback. But you know what I mean? And then who was it? Taylor Tatum. He have a pass as well. That was a scary pass, by the way.
That was he threw it. Scary pass. I mean, that guy. I'm not mistaken. I think he got a pinky on it. But
I thought that guy was.
It was a great catch by Arnold to get down there.
It was. I don't know. My concern is there's 2 games left in the season. A lot can happen. What I mean by that is, I still believe in Arnold. I do. I think if he had the right person with him, I think he needs a quarterback coach. I think the poor kid, this is a team like, what are you thinking, Venables? Get him a quarterback's coach. Somebody can help teach him, sit with him on the sideline, talk to him, show him, the expectations. I mean, he's too loose with the ball when he's running around, and you've got to have that thing, tucked in, regardless if you're going to get ready to pass it or 2 hands on it or whatever might happen. Because, I mean, he was very, what's the word I'm looking for? He wasn't very alert during the very end. Very careless at the very end there. And Clay and I were texting back and forth, and he was like, I think we need to go into overtime. I said, man, go for it. If we can get it. He goes, what about a turnover? I'm like, if you turn it over, we turn it over. I was expecting an interception, not a fumble I didn't expect that. Not saying I expected an interception, but if there was a turnover, I was going to be expecting because he's trying to go vertical.
Taking a shot.
Ball. Yeah, taking a shot. And I was like, I'm fine with it, man. Go for it. Let's go for it. I don't want to wait around because we weren't stopping them. And that's why I didn't want to go into overtime. If you have the opportunity with a minute and a half left or however much that was, it a minute and a half left? Do you remember?
When we got the ball?
Yeah, when we got the ball, whenever it was
because we got a couple first downs and then
yeah.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. All we had to go at the field goal range, and Schmidt, I mean, he was kicking. He was doing well that night.
No, he did really well. There was one play that we wasted like 30 seconds off the clock. But I think the player, and I've said it before, but the player who reminds me the most so far is Bo Nix in college, because Bo Nix was kind of the same. I mean, just kind of a strong arm quarterback, would just sling it. Didn't have a whole lot of help. Didn't have a whole lot of time. Could pull off some really, good plays, which we saw against Ole Miss. And a bigger quarterback who has some mobility to him. So He reminds me a lot of a Bo Nix, which obviously we know what he turned into. I think Arnold can be better than him. I really do. I just think, like you mentioned, I mean, you have to. It's all about who you surround him with. It is all about who you surround him with. And it's not anything knock on Arnold. That's any single player in the country. That's why you see Ohio State quarterbacks being anything in college. That's why you see Alabama quarterbacks doing anything. Georgia, even Georgia quarterback, that guy sucks.
He's terrible, man. Terrible. I mean, I look at it. I mean, I remember Troy Aikman in his rookie year not being very, very good. Of course, they were a garbage team, right? Jimmy Johnson hires Norv Turner in, and Norv Turner helped turn Troy Aikman around. And then at that point, Troy has the confidence and knows what he's doing. And whenever Norv went to coach the Washington team. But anyway, it's just frustrating. It is frustrating, but I do not want. I want Arnold back. I hope he does come back. I think we can solidify the offensive line. I still think if there's a quarterback in the portal, go get him. Maybe they can be a good solid backup for us. I got into an argument with a gentleman through social media as well, saying that I was under the impression this was not a building year for the offense, rebuilding year. Were you guys going into the season?
No.
Did you
really quick?
It's turned
with Oklahoma. With a blue blood. There is no rebuild, especially with the transfer portal. There is no rebuild.
This was not the year to do a rebuild.
I said the only issue we had that I can remember going into this season, the only issue we had was the offensive line. We just didn't know how.
Correct.
We didn't know how that was going to. We all expected, myself included, them to gradually get better because that's what they've done before in the past when they've had new offensive line. But this guy was going on new quarterback, new offensive coordinator, running backs, wide receiver. I'm like, dude, our running backs are good, and our wide receivers are good. I said the receivers got hurt after the season started. Go ahead.
Well, you said new quarterback. Yes, new quarterback, but one he was supposed to be a redshirt freshman, ended up losing that. But it's not like we brought in a true freshman quarterback. Like this guy sat on the bench for a year to take over. Like that's you're breeding him into this. Like this was not a rebuild year.
It's not a rebuild. If it was a rebuild, they would have probably, in my opinion, they would have done it and tried to keep Gabriel.
The start of the rebuild happened whenever Venables came and we were rebuilding the defense.
That was rebuilding.
Venables said, give him 3 years. This is the third year. This was not a rebuild year, so I'm not going to say that this was to be expected by us.
Yeah.
This is a letdown of a year for us, and we're all willing to say.
I don't know what any of the fans, OU fans out there, if your thoughts were it was supposed to be a rebuild year, but put it in the comments. Let us know.
I wish that's how I felt. I'd feel a little bit better right now. But
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a rebuild. I mean, we can't help it. I know Anderson was already had a hamstring injury before, but still we thought he was coming back, right? Anthony had hurt himself last year. We thought he would be coming back, and I guess there have been some issues with how the surgery went and how the the healing, I guess, process is gone. But and then Gibson did get hurt before the beginning of the year. And from what I understand, he was in practice was the main guy for Arnold,
which is huge.
Yeah, it is huge. It is huge.
And then Farouk, the first drive of the season.
First drive of the season.
Deion Burke's like 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, 2 games into the season.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It is what it is. But I didn't think of anything of this being a rebuild offensive year at all for Oklahoma. It's just like you said a minute ago. We don't do that. We don't do rebuilds. We're playing football and we're a blue blood and we're going to go out there and try to get it. Couldn't get it done this year. I mean, and there's a lot of reasons as to why. Do I personally think they should have still been better? Yeah, I do. I think we should have had some of these younger kids be able to jump up. I do think there's an issue in the coaching ranks with the Sooners. I don't know if it's with Venables. I don't know who it is. With Seth Luttrell. Now he's gone. Joe John, whatever. I think there's an issue. Bill Bedenbaugh, I don't care. If it were, let me ask you guys this. So if it were you, what do you do? I know there's 2 games left, but if we hypothetically, let's say we lose them both and finish 5-7. What do you do with the coaching staff? What do you do? And I know we'll be able to talk about this in a couple weeks as well, but as of right now, what would you think you would need to do?
Fire Bedenbaugh, fire Joe John, fire what's his name? Strength and conditioning.
Oh, Jerry Schmidt.
Fire Schmidt. Consider firing DeMarco Murray.
Really?
And yeah, he's in charge of the ball security. It's pathetic. He's in charge of it. And pretty much let Venables know this is your last year. And I know you got a tough schedule, but 10 wins or you're out. There's no need. We need to be any less than that. So that's kind of what I would do. And then that's where I would start is firing those guys and then maybe look deeper into some other, like the analysts and stuff like that, which, whatever. But, and again, if there's someone bigger on the market for one of those other positions, fire someone. Oh, fire Todd Bates, fire Chavez. Those guys they can recruit, but they don't produce on the field. So get them out of here.
Okay. Kellen, what about you?
I agree with Gary. I pretty much get clean house, but I personally want to give Venables one more year because I do really like what he's done to the defense, and I think our defense would look a lot better if our offense was rolling. So I'd give Venables one more year.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you guys are saying. I'm just scared. Here's what I'm scared of, is it's going to happen again next year. And I'm not talking about the injuries and all that. I'm just talking about just the idiotic – I shouldn't say idiotic, but it's just some questionable – decisions made, clock management, whatever. And I think we're going to be another 6-6, 7-5, maybe, team. Because next year, schedule doesn't get any easier. I know Michigan's coming to town, and I know they stink. I get that. But the thing is that, we flip-flop everybody. We play LSU at home, Auburn, Ole Miss, and whoever else am I missing there. Will be some home games.
Mizzou.
Yeah, Mizzou. Oh, yeah.
I'm not worried about that.
Wasn't even thinking of them because they stink. But you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? So I just don't know. I know it's a $44 million buyout. I have no idea what the buyout would be if he were to let go next year because there obviously would still be a buyout. Does that hurt you any? I don't know. I called Kel Gundy the other day and talked to him and talked to him and, asked him, is that a big deal? Like if you lose a coach, he goes, people want to come to Oklahoma. People want to coach here. People want to play here. Regardless, this is still blue blood, and people want to come here. Because I was concerned if that would hurt recruiting. Because I do think Venables can recruit. I think he's done a good job recruiting. I think he's got a good defense. If it were up to me, keep Zach Alley. I think he's an up-and-comer. Keep him I think you said at one point, maybe he's the head coach. I don't know. But, keep him.
Give him, like you said, keep him that 1 year. and then
hire the
see how
guy
Allie
from
does.
Indiana. Hire the guy from Indiana, the head coach. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. It starts with a C, last name C. But hire him. He's 60 years old. Let him be the coach for about 5 years, and then Zach Alley takes over after that. Say he's the coach in waiting or what? I don't know.
Kurt
Just
Signetti.
Yeah,
no. I mean, Allie's not going to last 5 years, but
no. But you know what I mean? It's just. I'm concerned. I really am concerned. What we should do. But the benefits are if we do win, if he does hire the right guy in offense coordinator and can turn this thing around, we can win 10 games. I mean, you said 10. I mean, I can take 9 right now, to be honest with you. We can win 9 games. Yeah, I'll take 9 games. If you told me 9 right now today, I could guarantee 9. I'm taking it. Because in the SEC, I would take it in a heartbeat. But that's what I'm saying is that is it going to be difficult to get an offensive coordinator to come in here knowing it may only be for a year? My personal opinion is no, because I don't think you're going to go after one of these big guys or whatever. You're going to go after one of these, like Riley was what, Eastern Carolina, or a guy at Western. I'm just throwing, Western Michigan, Western Kentucky. I don't know. Somewhere, that's running a good offense. Somebody like that would love to come here, even if it was for a year, put that on their resume. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, that's kind of what Venables has said, because obviously there's a lot of thoughts that Arnold's leaving essentially no matter what, just because he has no help, on the offensive line. Like, we're not making him look good. We're not setting him up for success.
No.
And
everybody's been ripping on him.
Yeah, and so he can't sit there and wait around to see what we get in the portal or anything like that. But Venables' response is always the fact that why wouldn't he want to stay? Because he's still the starting quarterback at the University of Oklahoma. So you could say that of any position. It's really, you hard sell that, you'll be able to get some guys, some really big talent alone. But nowadays, it's also like, oh, cool. How much money can you give me, and how can you get me to the next level? It's like, well, you can be a stud, and I've said this before on the offensive line. If all the other 4 guys suck, you're going to suck too. You're going to look really bad. So you've got to get some well-rounded talent up there.
Sure. It's going to be interesting. Bill Bedenbaugh's well thought of in the NFL. I know, listened to some different podcasts and things that I listened to, and they were saying, and it wasn't an OU podcast, they were saying Bedenbaugh is like one of the top 2 or 3 offensive line coaches in college football with producing talent and all this kind of stuff. He's well thought of, but he struck out this year. He struck out. So, I just give him another year. We got the one kid coming in, but there's a concern that he's going to flip to Texas.
Yep.
So I don't, if he flips to Texas, I'd say adios and start over. That's what I would do. I don't know. It's just, it's frustrating, but it is, it's always going to be fun, though, correct? All right. Couple other little tidbits to go over. One being, got a haircut. Y'all making fun of my hair last week. It looks good. Went to
the fact that you got a haircut
barber
just because we made fun of you is.
No, I was going to get it anyway.
I
got it.
I don't know.
I was going to get the haircut anyway. Much better, but it gave me an extra week to not have to get one. So it was 40-something days, which is not. It's way too long for me. I had to duck under some doors because my head was like 7 foot tall almost with my hair. But went to Friendly Barbershop in Edmond. Good, huh? And good old. What'd you say?
I said, did you sell all that extra hair to make a wig for cancer patients?
Yeah. Well. Whatever. Yeah, it was a good haircut. But moving on. Let me ask you this: would you rather? You guys rather for a good old would you rather question? Would you rather have a personal chef or a personal chauffeur?
Chef. Psh, easy.
Right now, chauffeur, because Atlanta traffic's no joke.
Oh, yeah.
It would really solve some of my built-up just frustration on the road. And
what would you be doing? Getting on your phone the whole time while somebody's driving, not worry about it?
I'm a businessman. I'd probably be doing business.
Yeah.
Okay. I would take the chef any day.
Would you have one?
I already have one, kind of. But anyway, I would take the chef any part of the day. It would be great. get me a little bit healthier, some healthy foods, get me slim down a little bit. You know, I'll be an Adonis like I am. Anyway, a little slimmer Adonis. Well, there's one good thing is Oklahoma will not lose this weekend.
Whoa! Also,
because we're not playing.
Yeah.
Also what?
Nothing.
Oh. And then, so real quick, couple other little quick tidbits. Chet Holmgren out 8 to 10 weeks. That's rough for the Thunder. Very rough for the Thunder. Hardenstein should be back here soon, but still, it's just gonna be it's unfortunate for Chet. Love the guy. Dallas Cowboys stink. Now I'm just looking forward to the NFL draft at this point. Maybe a top 5 pick and see what they can do if they can mess it up again. Hey, let's pay Dak Prescott
probably
all
get
this
Ginty.
money and he'd be
Probably
garbage. Huh?
Ashton Ginty top 5, I bet.
I don't know who that is, but okay. Who are you talking about?
Are you serious?
What are you talking about?
The Boise State running back?
Oh, that guy? We don't want a running back early.
I know. I'm saying that's probably what Jerry Jones will do.
Yeah, no, he better not. I mean, I would honestly, if it's a top 5 pick, you know, I think people would try to trade up to try to get one of these other quarterbacks. Maybe you can gain some additional you can get some additional what do you call
draft
it?
capital?
Picks. No, yeah, but I mean, the phone was ringing downstairs. I can't daggum hear.
I couldn't even hear anything, but
well, you'll hear that.
We're not going to talk anymore about this, but what I would do is trade Dak, Micah, and CD and get as much as you can and try to do what the Thunder did.
I agree 100%. Why would we not talk about this anymore?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, Gary, whatever. Kellen, you're Colts. Yeah. Joe Flacco.
I would
They
stick
need to
with
get rid of-
Richardson.
Yeah, they need
He's
to
only
get rid
played
of that
11 games compared to a lot of star quarterbacks. His first 11s.
Took himself out of the game.
Joe Flacco's not doing anything special, so I would just stick with Richardson personally and just see how it goes. I'm not saying he's a quarterback of the future. I would just stick with him, but I don't know.
Well, I think the reason why they're not is because they're trying to save jobs. Is honestly what I think they're trying to do right now.
Yeah, well, Joe Flacco ain't saving nobody's job, so
never know. Well, Foxx Den would like to thank all of our listeners taking time out of your day listening to the podcast. Remember to subscribe at YouTube. Subscribe there, our YouTube channel. You can get updates and all that if you need them. Look at us on some other things later on as well. You can listen here after the fact. But I always want to remind everybody that iron sharpens iron. Please stay safe, be savage and not average, and remember to join the skulk. And the next one, Kellen?
goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
And stay thirsty, my friends.
Thank you for listening to the Foxx Den Sports Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for free to our YouTube channel, Foxx Den Sports. And also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Foxx Den Sports and on Facebook at Foxx Den Sports Podcast. You can also email us at foxdensports@yahoo.com. This has been Foxx Den Sports.